Boss Bandit in a nutshell. Boss Bandit will be the next champion coming to Clash Royale. You can find it in the Royale crypt unless they change that randomly. She has an insane amount of HP given that she survives rocket plus lightning. Sure, she still has the lowest HP out of all 6 elixir cards apart from Sparky, but she isn't a tank like Goblin Giant, so that makes sense. Rather, she basically is a buffed up bandit. Yeah, that's gonna be fun to deal with. Obviously, she offers more damage than regular bandit, that her attacks can one-shot spirits and dagger goblins, and her dash can one-tap things like magic archer and mother witches. But they both have the exact same movement speed and dash range, making them quite consistent, except for attack speed. Bandit's quicker on that one. Being a champion obviously means she comes with an ability. This ability costs 1 elixir and will make her teleport 6 tiles back, which at first might seem useless. But given that she can dash into targets 6 tiles away from her, it makes it perfect to get a second dash on the same target. I tried to test it with very fast troops if they can still move quick enough to make her walk normally after the ability. Even raged up, that seems to not work, which is quite interesting. The only time I was able to get it to work when I put a bunch of swarms that ended up pushing closer before the ability was even used. So basically in a real game, you will never have to worry about pressing the ability and not getting a dash, with the exception of them accidentally playing something on your side, but yeah, whatever. What's interesting is that unlike other champions, this will be the only ability that would not regenerate over time. Instead, she will have it refresh once she goes below 50% HP, making her the most unique champion released so far. The ability has more uses than you might expect. Back to uses of the ability, after defending a tiny push, you can press the button to make her teleport back and help with defending a miner. It can also be used as a method to combat kiting, which is something typically very effective against regular bandit. The first option is to activate the ability early to mess up their timing, but this is a prediction play, not a reaction one. The second option is to do it late because it's still worth it to get your boss bandit out of the zone that makes both towers target her, so she becomes harder to take out. And the third option is using it to eliminate the troops that are trying to kite her, which saves some massive damage on your towers in some cases. It will either force a second response or will give you the chance to counter push with the bandit after it kills his troop. The ability is useful in getting your bandit to retarget onto a different troop, so it gives you more control. Like, imagine your thing is on the tower and they drop a mother witch late due to being low on elixir. Instead of allowing them to get value from their card, you can simply just teleport back to kill it, as that would get you more damage on the tower plus a 3 elixir positive trade. But watch out, because teleporting also makes the opponent's cards target away from her. One tiny teleport and the Evo Mortar is now locked on your tower, draining your will to live with every single goblin stab. But it could still be beneficial to reset enemy units onto something else if she was getting low on HP. The retargeting makes it ineffective for magic archer players to use her to line up on tower. When you can just tap one button and dip out, it becomes a high risk, low reward play for them. Surprisingly, the ability is also great against Swarm, despite it not dropping bombs like the Mighty Miner does. Obviously, alone she wouldn't do much, but you can terminate an attack and follow up with a splash card in front to clear the way and help tank for her. And if they play Swarm cards in the middle, you can ability, as this will scatter them away, which would force an extra response for just 1 elixir. And my favorite use for this ability is, when it comes to interactions, one would think it would get priority over the regular bandit dash, but it doesn't. It's basically 100% consistent with it up until you mess up with the timing using the ability. To explain what I mean by this is basically doing an ability too early will just cause her to teleport back and she would tie with the boss bandit that served her ability, and tapping the ability late will also do the exact same thing and basically waste your elixir on nothing. But clicking it with the right timing will have her dash and teleport back at the same time, which what I would like to call the shadow dash. The difference between a regular dash and a shadow dash is that on the regular one, you would click the ability while she is dashing, so she would do the full animation after dashing. But with the shadow dash, the animation will start before she dashes and will basically be played during the dash, making her teleport back instantly as soon as she hits the tower. To demonstrate why this technique matters, basically if I play her against a damaged Sparky and do 2 regular dashes, the ability animation will drag enough for her to lose over 1000 HP. But if I do the exact same setup with a shadow dash before the regular one, she will be able to take out the Sparky without taking any shots to the face. This is basically effective against all the vanilla ranged cards, which is a big number of them. And I tried majority of the gimmicky ranged cards, and shadow dashing seemed to be either beneficial or the same as regular dashing, except for Firecracker, cause you know, she has a mind of her own. This applies to buildings as well, since with the right timing it can negate an evolved Goblin Cage entirely, and to my surprise it works against Tesla despite it going underground. Same goes for melee troops. Almost every single time shadow dashing yields better results, and if it doesn't do better results, it's usually the exact same as doing normal dashes, so I would stick to that. Keep in mind though, shadow dashes will not absorb a Prince Dash, which could be very trippy for you or your opponents, so use that information however you see fit. Now you might think that because it's a buffed bandit, it will just be replacing the regular bandit as a bridge spam unit. Sadly, the high elixir cost accompanied with the need for elixir to activate her abilities will just make it risky to spam. But I feel like she will mostly be used as a defensive troop, utilizing the first ability she has to keep as much HP as she can, and then as a counter push where she would tank for towers, protecting other cards and slowly getting to her second ability. And just like the bandit, I think she can do great at sniping Teslas and other buildings against cycle decks, but probably even more efficiently given that she can dash twice, so she would apply so much pressure, leaving so much room for errors. I however don't think it will be a case of just swap Bandit for Boss Bandit in your bridge spam deck and call it a day, because P.E.K.K.A. and Boss Bandit together will just feel awkward elixir cost wise. Instead, we might see some small changes to adapt to it. Or maybe even completely new decks, because to me it feels like using both bandits in the same deck might be a good idea. Also, random fact, she's the most effective champion with clone because she's the only one where most of her power comes from the troop itself. Countering her can feel a bit tricky, but honestly, it's not really that hard at all. Playing cards right behind her can automatically make the ability useless because they will be close enough to the new position, making her not dash at all. And this works with the slowest card of all time, so it doesn't really matter what deck you play. The one issue with this is that it leaves your cards very vulnerable because they are very close to the opponent's side. So if you don't feel safe doing it, you can counter it like a regular bandit and play another card when they use the ability to prevent the dash or soak the damage. I think it's impossible to react, but predicting shouldn't be hard because the human brain will force them to click the ability before it reaches 50% HP to not waste it. I would also avoid kiting it to the middle, even though both towers would target her, because with one ability she can go into a position where 0 towers are targeting her. And I guess air troops are fine against her as long as you distract well enough. Swarm cards are also still a decent enough counter. In my opinion, paired with any ranged troop, it should get the job done pretty much easily. For King Tower activations, she still works the exact same way a bandit does, but it's much easier to activate with it given she has more HP. The extra HP also allows for activations that used to not be possible with a regular bandit, so that's pretty cool to know. Even Fisherman can now activate with it as long as the tower you have is Princess or Chef, because the others will kill her in time. Cannoneer and Duchess have their own activation with a Fisher, which is very hard to pull off, but to be honest, it's very flashy and probably a big flex to use in a real game. And you can even use an Ice Spirit to reduce damage on your towers, because as you have seen, the dash does like a crap ton of damage, so I just wouldn't want to take that on my tower. But the problem is, every king activation against Boss Bandit can easily be ruined with just one ability press. So I would imagine you will never be able to activate your king against her in a real match, because even if they waste their ability, she will get below 50% HP and get another one anyway. This card feels like it's gonna be extremely skillful, but honestly, I think leave it to people to figure out the most brain-dead strategy in 5 minutes from its release, so we can all safely complain about it being no skill, my dudes.